I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular meeting, Moose Lake City Council for Wednesday, December 11th, 2019. And I'd like to start with a pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is the agenda. If you would look on page 2, the new business, number 7, we have a new item, which is G, which is the D&E estimate. And under that, H, we have the liability waiver form. And with that, do we have any other items for the agenda or corrections?
Waiver form.
Liability waiver form. Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to number 2, the consent agenda. We have 2A is the minutes. Number 1 is the November 13, 2019 City Council regular meeting minutes. Do we have any discussion or questions on the minutes? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to 2B, which is the financial reports. We have number 1, city accounts payable for November 2019. Number 2 is the city financial statements for November 2019. Number 3 is the liquor store profit loss statement for November 2019. Do you have any questions or comments on the financial reports?
No.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the financial reports?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to number 3 is the public comment. This time is reserved for comments from the public on matters not listed on the agenda. Please keep comments to 3 minutes. We have nobody here. I'm guessing we'll move on to number 4. Department reports. 4A is the police chief department report for November 2019.
City Council, Mayor. As you'll see, we have the attached reports for last month. We had 177 calls, I believe. We had an hour up at MSOP, 2 hours for the ECRC at the Department of Corrections. The Tahoe, I just got it back actually yesterday. I had to call up there and put a little fire under there. End to get them going on it, because they just kept telling me that they were waiting on parts from the strike that was just ending, and they were backlogged, and it was like a month and a half that it was up there. For some amazing reason, they were able to get the parts the next day. And it is back and it is running, and it was all covered under the powertrain. We have Blue Santa, it's Cops for Kids. It's what used to be our Shop with a Cop we had last year, except for we redid it this year with the Shopko being gone. We've been getting a lot of donations. It's been perceived very well. My office is full of toys, and we've gotten a lot of monetary donations also from several people. We're going to be holding that after we figure out the families that we're going to be doing. We're going to be having that here on the 23rd at 6 o'clock. We're going to have the families that are chosen come here and have a Christmas for them. Snowstorm, obviously we all had to deal with that. We've had a few of them, but everything's gone well. Nobody's been injured. The public seemed to do pretty good on this last time around to put out some notices ahead of time, but they've been getting the cars off the roads, and for the most part, I think Phil's hasn't had too many issues as far as getting the streets clean this time around, so thank you to the public for adhering to that and making it better for the street department to get out there. We've had, the other day we had a vehicle fire also up in the Minute Mart, and during the process of that I managed to get 56 grams of cocaine out of this car. So cocaine is back in the area. But he ended up with quite a few, several charges on that we're investigating further on. But he had a large amount of narcotics and drugs that was coming through our town. Other than that, everything seems to be going smoothly.
Question by the council?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the whole crew. Public Works Superintendent Report.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, busy month. We didn't do much for variety. We plowed a lot of snow, and everyone knows that, and that's fine. But yeah, we were busy. Water department distributed 3.4 million gallons drinking water in the month of November. Sewer department collected 13.1 million gallons of wastewater, which is over half the amount as last month, obviously due to the precipitation, the different form of precipitation rather. We finished our November discharge. That was just shy of 39 million gallons. We're starting our December discharge, which is going to run here the end of the year, the 18th to the 31st. That'll be about 42 million gallons. So we are, even though it's cold and it's ice everywhere and there's snow everywhere, the wastewater treatment plant is just busy, very, very busy. So we're battling that, and we're just doing the best we can. Snow removal, yeah, everybody's sick of it. I get it. My street's not plowed. The road's slippery. There's a pile here, there's a pile there. I get it. We're on it. There's 3 of us in our department. We're doing the best we can. And personally, I think we're doing a good job. One thing I want to touch on, snowplow safety. Everyone sees pieces of equipment running down the street, trucks where they usually are not. It is very difficult to see out of these vehicles. It's very difficult to see behind you. Yeah, they have mirrors, but it is very difficult. One thing I want to say, any driver in any plow truck has a hard time seeing behind you. Don't tailgate a plow. If you see one, give them plenty of space. Assume they don't see you. Just slow down, be safe. Everyone, I think, like Mike said, did a very good job this year, or so far in this last storm, but all it takes is one time, and it could be really bad. So stay back. We make frequent stops. We back up very frequently. We do a lot of things you wouldn't think normal vehicles should do. So when you see something that totally blows your mind, it happened. Just be safe. Keep control of your vehicle and move on to your destination. The ordinance number 92, Mike touched on a little bit. Anyone has any questions, concerns about that, please see City Hall, myself, the PD. It helps out as much as, we want to be out there cleaning everything up just as much as you guys want to go and do your thing and be where you want to be. So, and that's about all I have.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'd like to thank your department. Sunday, we were open at the theater, and I came up here and everything was all plowed out real nice. And we were able to be open for business, and that's important to us. Speaking as a business owner, not as a counselor here.
Sure.
But thank you very much for doing that.
Yep, no.
In a timely manner.
And I guess to go with that, thank you for employing us.
Yeah.
I think there was 2 of us that had 14 hours in on Sunday. Yeah, they're long days. We're tired. Everyone's tired and crabby, and I get that. But at the same token, thanks for the ability to serve City Moose Lake. So thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Yep.
Please pass it on to the guys.
I will.
Thank you. Moving on to 4C Technology / Library Report. Mr. Administrator. Okay.
The only thing for technology, and it's a part of the budget, it's in the budget, is we will be replacing the remainder of the computers that need to be converted to Windows 10. They will no longer be providing updates for our older computers, so we, for the last 2 years, we've been replacing a third at a time, but in January, we will replace the final chunk of computers. They already know which ones need to be replaced. They'll be ordering them, but we will have to purchase a large number of them at once. That's it.
Questions, council? Very good. Thank you. Now, D is city engineer report.
The first thing that we talked about was sewer lining, which we discussed at the last meeting as well, and we discussed in the budget meetings. We have $100,000 in our sewer budget for next year for our lining project. Just again, we're looking to go up for bid in January. That'll give us time to make sure that it gets done this summer. It is in the budget, and it's for the large line that goes to the downtown and then under the hockey arena. The second thing that we talked about was the trail, which we can discuss later. And then finally, the well house. The well house will have more information at the January meeting for you all to review cost estimates, some very high-level design for the well house. Just more so approval to continue on with the engineering for that project. So look for more information on that one in January.
Very good. Any questions by the council? Very good, thank you. Okay, chamber updates. I don't think we have anyone here to give us a report on that.
Does anybody know where the next meeting's at tomorrow?
I don't. We will find out and we will let you know.
And I know that they had, working with Barney and some of the park board had a Christmas Santa visit this last weekend, and the note that came out by the chamber, it was a very well attended event. I think over 100 children.
Yeah.
And Mr. Lauer here had a free movie for the children.
Yep, that came out
Conjunction.
really successful. There was a lot of people that came, we had a lot of good comments, so the two things working together seem to do a
Good success. And
Yeah, I
very
think there's been
nice.
some discussion about keeping it here
Yeah.
and at the theater too, possibly next year.
Very good.
I heard that Santa did a good job as well.
Yeah, Santa's here somewhere. Very good. Number 5, we have truth and taxation public hearing
At 6.
at 6 o'clock. So for now, we'll just skip over to number 6, previously discussed business, which is the 73 trail agreement.
Starting on page 67 is a supplemental letter agreement. This basically states that we are going to have SEH, who's the city engineer, do the design and field work for the trail project. It kind of gives an overall project description, map, cost estimate. All of those things are included with this letter. And really what this does is it's just kind of the next step in ensuring that we're moving forward with this project. So
Do you need any,
I need approval for this agreement, yes.
So move.
a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to new business, 7A, liquor renewals. We have a page.
Page 77 is where they begin, and I think Katie's going to talk about these ones.
Very good.
These renewals were sent to me by the state. I forwarded them on to all of the businesses and received every one of the liquor ones back, the tobacco ones, which is the next item. You have something on your desk for one that I received today. Other than that, everybody has everything into me and good to go, just need your guys' approval.
Chief, do you have anything on, you want to mention on any of these renewals?
No,
Any concerns or issues?
No, I don't think there's any really issues with them. We did do, just completed our, it's gonna be in the next month's packet, but we just did the tobacco compliance and all of our vendors were all in compliant 100%, so
Very
I
good.
think everything's going well.
Thank you. So we're looking for an approval then, starting with 7A, liquor renewals.
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
Do we have to list every single one or just?
No, just the ones that are in the packet.
Okay,
though.
I'll make a motion, we accept the liquor renewals that are included in the packet.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who was the second on that one?
Greg.
Rick.
Motion carried. Moving on to tobacco renewals, it sounded like the same thing, Katie.
Yeah, same thing. The only issue I think that we had was last year with Marketplace. They failed their compliance check, so, but they paid the administrative fine and we haven't had any problems since, so.
And then when approving this one, it would be all of them that are in the packet plus Minute Mart, which is on your table.
Make a motion to approve all that are in the packet and the Minute Mart.
Is that a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to 7C, Economic Development Authority appointment. Terry Byrne, Northwoods Credit Union, Moose Lake Area Chamber of Commerce.
I brought back the feedback. Again, I didn't look whether it was a rule or just something that we wanted, which was to tie the Economic Development Authority to the chamber a little bit by having a member. But their suggested appointment is Terry from Northwoods Credit Union. I think he would make a great addition to the Economic Development Authority. He's willing, and I would ask that you approve him for 2020.
You have a motion, council?
Also move.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Down to 7D, the John Deere Z-Track mower quotes.
So this is one of the items in the 2020 capital budget. However, Phil and I and other department heads at the end of the year review kind of each department where they're at. And the sewer department is doing very well ahead of budget by enough to cover this. There was something that we didn't do in capital for sewer. They're replacing a couple manholes or something. Anyways, we're ahead of where we are, where we need to be for our budget. So Phil and I discussed it. This is something that we would need next year, but we could utilize this year's budget and then look at additional projects for next year. So our recommendation is that we purchase this lawnmower this year. There's two quotes. One is from Moose Lake Implement. The other one is Duluth Lawn Sport. The total price is listed on that second page, just so you don't have to scroll all the way through. But Moose Lake Implement and Sport was the low price on this one.
Discussion or motion by the council?
I'll make a motion, we accept the low quote from Moose Lake Implement.
Got a second?
Second.
Any questions by the council? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 7E, Arrowhead Transit Contract Renewal. Page is that on?
Starts on page 133. This is the same thing that we've approved annually for Arrowhead Transit. I think you requested the rider.
Yeah.
Can you take the cover off of that, the one that's closest to the library? Yep. It's just a fan. So I think we'll have that maybe for next month.
Yeah, I asked her middle of the week last week and she just didn't get back to me, so.
But other than that, it's the same price, the same service that we've been receiving. I think it's going really well, so I would certainly recommend that we continue having this service.
Council?
Can I ask, the hours are good, hours and days? so
Yep,
people are-
yep, I haven't heard a single complaint. I think people really like having this as an option in town, and quite frankly, I think it's maybe the best form of public transportation that we're gonna get in a community this size, so I think it's great.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we accept the Arrowhead Transit contract renewal.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
I think we're done. Look at the time.
Moving on to 7F, Tim Peterson resignation.
Yes.
Yeah. What happens then?
He leaves anyhow.
Change your mind? Did I hear anything?
We got you a new chair.
I appreciate the new chair.
Yes.
Maybe Walt, you could throw in some movie passes to keep him here.
Walt brought free popcorn one day.
I think what time?
And I was gone.
It was Katie that wanted it, so actually I ended up with twice the amount of free popcorn and sent her a picture of the
Yeah.
fact that I was enjoying it, so.
It was great.
Well, we'll get you some up there here
Well,
soon.
thank you.
I thought a free campground campsite would keep him, but that didn't work.
That didn't work either.
No,
Yeah.
I guess not.
Yeah.
I will be here for the next meeting as well, but yes, January 10th will be my last day. And I certainly appreciate the ability to have worked here for the last 3.5 years. I appreciate all of you who have been excellent to work with, as well as all of the staff. It is few and far between that you can find a city council, and I know that we've had a couple new members since I've been here, but consistently the council has been fantastic to work with, and that is something to be proud of, because that is not something that every community can say, and it has a dramatic impact on the staff and the ability for a city to move projects forward. So you should all be extremely proud of that.
Well, thank you. I'll regrettably make the motion that we accept Tim Peterson's resignation.
For the record, that might be the first motion in 3.5 years that he has ever made, and it's to get rid of me.
I may have made the motion to hire you.
I doubt it.
So.
I think he did, actually. So it's only fitting.
Now, if we don't have a second, that's it, you get a chair and you can have a.
You know
not
what?
a bigger office.
You could have this office. You could have a bigger office than Ted.
My office is bigger than Ted's already.
I'll second it. As far as discussion goes, I just want to thank you, Tim. It's been just a great working relationship, as you stated. I think the council really appreciates it, because I know Chris and Ted have gone through a lot of change here, and we've seen what it's like to work with someone that's easy to work with and very level-headed, and I'm sure all the staff appreciates that as well. You can come to you with any issues that they had or we had, and it's just really been a joy to work with you, so thank you.
Thank you.
I think we all thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. You know, next month, we get to do the opposite, guys.
Change your
We
mind.
put Tim in the center and.
Oh, I was gonna say, you tell all the bad things about me.
Very well. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
unanimously.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
More to come. Moving on to 7G, D&E estimate. Now, that's a handout you already have.
Yes, the next two are handouts. I will say that we only have one estimate for this. In the stands of the arena, these are the heaters that keep the fans warm. Basically, one of them broke. We need to have it replaced. It kind of explains why we need to have it replaced. D&E is the one that performs all the maintenance. They're the ones that have installed everything in the past. They're familiar with the dehumidification system and the air handlers that we have down there as well. So while I know that we only have one quote, I would still suggest that we use this quote. One, so that we can get it done in a timely fashion, and two, they're the ones that will be performing the maintenance on it anyways.
And they're the ones that originally put this stuff in?
I believe so, because they're the only ones that I've ever known to have worked on any of our mechanical systems down there.
I think it's been a benefit that we have had one that we can count on.
Right.
Has done a good job and has kept up on the type of equipment that we have and can respond to the issues that we have down there. Because when something does fail, because it is a rink, it can be catastrophic, and even shut the place down if the ventilation isn't right and stuff. So I think it's very important that we have a company that can do this. With that, do we have a motion to accept this work?
Also moved that we accept it from D&E Heating for their bid.
Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carried. Now, before we move on to G, there was something in F that I want to bring up that with Mr. Peterson's resignation, and that is the position, the administrator's position in the process. And because of the time limits that we have in a city council meeting where I have to try to keep every item down to either 15 to 20 minutes at the most, I would like to request the administrator to schedule a working meeting with the council to discuss this position and the process, where that is our only agenda item. We have all the time we need to discuss it and bring up issues and other possibilities. So if I have consensus with the council, I'd like Mr. Peterson to schedule that with us. Greg?
Yes.
Agree.
Would it be at all possible, Chris, to schedule this over lunch? I don't know that with this topic, I don't know that we're gonna need more than an hour.
Yeah, you can do it, Karen.
That's fine. I'll send out emails. Maybe I'll start with you, but then I'll send out emails with a couple dates for a lunch meeting. Okay?
Very good. Thank you. Moving on to 7H, liability waiver form.
This is something that we are required to fill out each year. Each year, we select that we do not waive the monetary limits. Basically, there are state statutes that set liability limits as to what we would pay for a claim. I would certainly suggest that we do not waive those monetary limits and we follow the state statute. So if you are going to make a motion, it would be to not waive the monetary limit on municipal tort liability.
And this is something we have done every single year.
Correct.
Year after year.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second? Second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Reports and correspondence, Moose Lake Food Shelf, thank you letter.
There's another letter in here from the food shelf. We continue to have a can or a opportunity to donate to the food shelf. And so they would like to thank the municipal liquor store again in Elaine for collecting donations for the food shelf.
That's very nice. Good. Comments by the council? Thank you also to Elaine for efforts in that direction with the food shelf. Moving on to number 9, committee and board meeting minutes. We have 9A, the Moose Lake Power regular meeting minutes for October 22nd, 2019. Number B, letter B, Moose Lake Area Fire Protection District minutes, November 12th, 2019. C, the Moose Lake Parks and Recreation meeting minutes, December 2nd, 2019. And I'll give announcements, but just to give everybody information again, at 6 p.m. we will have the Truth and Taxation hearing. And in that process, is not only from taking comments from the public, but we will be going over the budget and approval of the budget. I think we open it, close it, and then approve the budget. Everything is
We will just
adjustments?
suspend this meeting, make a motion to suspend this meeting, and then we will reopen it at 6 for the public hearing.
I think I'll go through number 10 before we do that, just so we're done with all this work on this agenda. So on announcements, regular Moose Lake City Council meeting Wednesday, January 8th, 2020 at 4 p.m. right here. The Moose Lake Economic Development Authority Wednesday, January 8th, 2020 at 12 p.m. the city conference room. Moose Lake Water and Light Commission regular meeting Tuesday, December 17, 2019 at 3 p.m. Water and Light office. The Moose Lake Housing and Redevelopment Authority January 13th, 2020, 11 a.m. at the Hillside Manor office. Moose Lake Area Fire District Tuesday, January 14th, 2020, 6:30 p.m. Emergency Response Center. I believe also you have a special meeting, Fire District,
Tuesday, this coming up Tuesday for the budgetary meeting.
so that is January...
Second Tuesday, no, it's going to be December 17th.
December 17th, at 6:30 at the Emergency Response Center?
Yeah.
Okay. Moose Lake Park Board meeting Monday, January 6th, 2020, 6:30 p.m. Moose Lake, right here at the chamber, council chamber. Library Board meeting January 13th, 2020, 1 p.m. City conference room. And with that, I have a motion to what?
To suspend.
To suspend the regular city council meeting. And we will open up at 6 p.m. with the truth and taxation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everyone back to our regular meeting, Moose Lake City Council. And do we have a motion to end our recess?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then I think we need a motion to open the public hearing.
Yep.
A motion to open the public hearing? Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are open for our truth and taxation public hearing.
I received no feedback from the public prior to this meeting.
Okay.
So no one's here, so you can close the public hearing.
All right, a motion to close the public hearing. So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are closed.
All right, so as far as the presentation goes, Katie's gonna run through portions of the PowerPoint, not the entire thing. So maybe let everybody know what slide number you're on. They're under each slide, so.
So nothing has changed in the general fund at all, so I'm gonna skip forward to slide 9, which is just the summary. Just wanted to let everybody know that the revenues, operating expenses, CIP expenses, and then the net income is with the 0% increase. So that's that. Skip forward to slide 11 is the same that it's been. Nothing, no new information has been published, so we can't update those. Slide 13 has the historical levy information. Again, we included a 0% increase, so you'll see that there. Slide 14 through 16 are the debt payments that we make. Oh, are they too small?
It's blurry when I explain it.
Do you need to borrow my glasses?
Yeah, it's more than that.
It's mine too.
It's probably just the pixelation. So that brings us to the water fund. We included a 0% increase in the amounts that are on the revenue and expenses. So with that, the net income would be a negative, or net loss, I guess, would be a $10,050 loss. The suggested rate increase is a 3% increase, which on the next slide shows what a 1, 2, and a 3% would look like, as well as the effects to the customers, which you guys will have to make a decision on later on. Sewer fund, same thing. Revenues stayed the same, expenses, they all stayed the same. The reason why there's that large net loss is because of the $100,000 sewer lining project. The suggested rate increase there is $2,300, and again on the next slide there's what 1, 2, and 3% would look like with the net loss, as well as the
What number slide are you on?
19. Actually 20, I lied. So the effects to an average customer are listed there as well. Like I said before, slide 21, the water and sewer CIP, the main sewer project is that lining project, and then the main water project would be the well replacement. Moving on to the liquor store, this one is probably the biggest change from what you guys have seen. I went through to the best of my ability with the new way that we are coding receipts and actually payments to kind of gauge how we are after, I think, 10 months I did it. So I knew a good idea of where about we'd be. And with that, I got about a $90,000 income. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the spreadsheets that I had printed. They're after the PowerPoint if you had any questions. The main things with the liquor store was I increased the advertising expense and the entertainment expense because Elaine seems to be doing much more of that kind of stuff. So I wanted to make it as realistic as possible. And then DMV was the same as last time. They have a net loss of $39,000. The big expense for this year, 2020, will be the office remodel that we're in the process of working on. We're going to be using that state money, the refund that they had given all the different agencies. So then the next slide, slide 24, is what it would look like with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% increase. We had chose a 2% increase for the initial levy. So The only applicable ones there would be 0, 1, and 2. Next page, were just some motions that we have to make. I have them all kind of listed out better in the following slides. So if you want to move forward to slide 26, it is the general fund. So we have to set a levy and approve the revenues and expenses. So I've got that all listed there. Depending on what you guys want to do with the levy, the numbers are all within the row, so.
So in your, on your agenda, there are motions that are listed in order. If you have questions, we can certainly go further into the budget, into more detail into the budget. Like Katie said, the initial levy was set at 2%. State law prohibits you from going higher than that. However, the recommendation that we would make, that we made at the initial levy meeting, was also 0%. I would recommend that the budget be passed with a levy percentage increase at 0%. You will see in there that there's a dollar amount increase of about $65,000. That amount comes solely from the increased value in properties in Moose Lake. As far as the actual rate that we are charging those homes at, that rate would stay the same. That's that 0% increase. With that, we would have a net income of $38,000, and that would be my recommendation.
All right, for the council, for action or discussion, a motion for annual levy dollar amount.
It means $683,665.
Correct. That would be the levy. That would be the first motion, yes.
I'll make the motion that we have a 0% levy for the total of $683,665 for 2020.
Do I have a second?
I'll set. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Who gave the second?
Rick.
Rick. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So with that, Katie laid out in that same table, the revenue would be $2,225,246. Expenditures that were presented would be $2,187,000, $2,187,103.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next one's not listed in the agenda here, but the next motion would be for the debt service revenue and expenditures. That would be slide 27. I would highly suggest that we pass it at this dollar amount.
The three,
Yep,
debt service amounts.
yep.
So moved. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, the next one is the water fund. As Katie talked about, we are requesting an increase in water rates. You can see a couple slides back what the impact on each of those would be. That being said, the recommendation that we have is for a 3% increase. The increase in dollar amount would be $7,500, which would still leave us with a net loss of about $2,500. However, as in years past, when we presented this, we've been able to kind of work it out so that we do stay within budget and we do have enough money to make that work.
So at a 3%, what you gave, that would be 68 cents per month per normal household. Yeah, 68 cents. Okay.
That's what it's.
Okay. Just for the councils. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second? Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
To be clear, that was at 3%.
3%.
3%.
Okay, so with that, the next one is the revenue and expenditures that go along with that 3% increase. The revenue would be $261,600. Expenditures would be $264,150.02.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Questions, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Same thing, we need to set the sewer fund rate first. My recommendation again would be that we look at a 3% increase. The net income, as Katie talked about, there is $100,000 that's included in that net loss that is for the sewer lining projects. That's where a large portion of that comes from. That being said, we do have enough funds in reserves to pay for that, as well as doing it for the next couple of years as well. So my recommendation would be the 3% increase for sewer as well.
And that again, per month, average home income is 75 cents a month. I'm sure it'll be a lot more for businesses and the two state facilities.
I'll make that motion, 3%.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next one is the revenue and expenditure dollar amounts for the sewer fund. With that, the revenue would be $578,700. The expenditures would be $689,221.84.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to motion motor vehicle revenue and expense method.
The next one is slide 30, which is for liquor. Otherwise, we could do 31, which is the motor vehicle, but
Let's do liquor.
okay, so slide 30, this one we don't need to set rates, but with the budget that was presented tonight, revenues are $1,384,300. Expenditures are $1,294,800.
Get a motion?
So moved.
Get a second? Questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next slide, motor vehicle.
Yep. As Katie talked about, the largest reason for the net loss is the redoing the office space. That does come from funds that are already in reserves that came from the state. So that's why there's that net loss there. With the budget presented, the revenue would be $2,126,900 and expenditures would be $2,166,000.
Open for motion, discussion?
Make a motion to accept the figures as stated.
Have a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Are there any other items that we need to complete? That's it. Thank you, Katie. Thanks, Tim. With that, I think all business is completed. Do we have a motion to adjourn the regular meeting, Moose Lake City Council for Wednesday, December 11th?
So moved.
Then second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, we're adjourned.